So I think a common misunderstanding is that you have to have 100% or over, which is again illegal, shorted in order for you to carry out a short squeeze. This is absolutely not true. If we look at previous examples like Volkswagen, which by the way for 15 minutes became the most valuable company in the world due to the short squeeze, I think it went up 1,600%. They were only at a short percent of 10. So if we scroll down here due to this article, the short position had ballooned at 12%, not 10. But realize AMC currently at 38, potentially higher according to some sources, nearing 70. Even in my last video, I thought it was 70 according to the sources I was looking at. But I think, in my opinion, now it's somewhere between 38 and 70. But the kicker here was that Porsche had owned 43% and also another 32% in share options, and the German government owned another 20%. So what happened was the people who were buying, the people who were holding, were resilient and didn't let that 12% pull the stock down, right? And so the same situation exists here, whereas if we are resilient and we hold the stock, then the 36% on AMC or the 80 to 100% of GME will of course be squeezed. And they were willing to hold and not sell, and that created an empty market, as in there was no more shares to buy and cover their short positions, and they basically made billions, 30 billion in the process. We have already done that with GME. An exact same situation is happening with AMC, which is why I am invested in AMC. Another thing I want to call out here is that this was not a 1 week thing, okay? This is very important because a lot of people think, oh, Friday, it's over. It didn't happen. No, that's not true. Even in the past with this previous squeeze, you can see it took a full month of October, okay? So we do need to hold longer than Friday. We need to hold longer than Friday of next week. Holding is good because, again, shorting a stock has no limit in terms of how long they can wait, right? The longer we hold, though, the more pressure that gets built, and the higher the stock price climbs, the more pressure that is built. Okay, so I know this is a long video. I want to shut up just as much as you want me to shut up, but we still have two more things to cover. One is selling calls and what that means. The second thing is we're going to talk risk. So selling calls is that you are making a deal with somebody else that eventually they can buy a stock from you for a certain set price or a strike price. A lot of these are uncovered. And what that means is that the people selling this don't actually have the shares behind it. If, for example, this contract goes in the green, which means that the price of the stock is above what the agreed strike price is, then for sure those contracts will execute, and the sellers of those calls will be forced to buy the stock. This is another one of those situations where people have bought the stock on loan. They think it's going to go down, and it didn't, and now they are forced to buy back the stock from the market. So similar situation with the selling as a short, except for this has a contracted end date. So when you hear the difference between, oh, we should wait till Friday or we shouldn't wait till Friday, when we say there's a contract, an expiration date, or there's not an expiration date, this is what we're talking about. Expiration dates are associated with calls and puts and options, and non-expiration dates are associated with selling shorts. So then the question is, okay, well, when do the contracts expire? There are contracts of all different types in options, but typically they expire on Friday, end of day. Now, that doesn't mean that the stock has to be bought at that moment, though. So the SEC has what are called settlement periods. And settlement periods basically define how long you have until you have to buy that stock. And so when people think, oh, it's Friday, they settled their contracts, that's actually not true. You have a limit of 2 days in order to fulfill that contract after it has been executed. This is associated with all sorts of transactions in the market, whether you're buying stock or selling stock in a standard manner, or if you're doing options. And so you actually won't see a bump of the Friday's option selling or buying until potentially 2 days later. Now we can actually figure out how much is going to be owed, because when you look at options and you look at open interest, if we look here at open interest, this is how many contracts are currently not executed. Now, as you can see, we're looking at February 5th because all of the previous contracts have already executed. But again, they haven't had to cover them yet because they have 2 days to cover them. So when the market opens on Monday, it's likely they're going to see a spike, but they could wait. They could wait till Tuesday and or even Tuesday end of day. So it's somewhere within there. But again, the amount here, you would have to calculate yourself. You'd have to take the open interest, multiply it by the current stock price, and that's how much people would owe. So this is the secondary source of bump that we should see in the stock price. Okay, so I kept that one short because I know this video is getting long, but there's one last segment that I want to talk about, which is the risks, right? Now, this is obviously high risk shit, and I don't want people to think like that this is a safe investment. It's not. There are a ton of things that could go wrong. We've already seen some of this happening outside of our control with like institutional fuckery, with Robinhood blocking trades, with CNBC spewing false information saying that the positions have already been closed, all this bullshit, right? In addition, there are other risks, right? With AMC in particular, AMC has a lot of shares that they have not yet sold to the market. They could, if they wanted to, sell a lot of their shares and make a lot of profit for themselves. And that would kind of dick with the short squeeze. You can see they're already considering selling more stock amid this rally, right? And if they're selling stock and we're the ones buying it, like they're really fucking hurting the cause, right? So not good, but I could definitely see them doing it. They already did it right before the rally. So they shouldn't really need the cash, but institutional investors are saying, hey, you should sell a lot of your shares and potentially repay your debt. The last issue here is, in my opinion, will people actually hold? Again, I said this could be a long-term thing, like a month. Do we think that people on Reddit will be able to hold for a month? That is another risk, right? So again, this is a high risk investment. You should only invest what you're willing to lose. I'll say that again. It also could be great. So that's all I have. This is all the information. Please come to the Discord if you have questions. We are answering them constantly. We also, like I said, update this sheet pretty frequently with new information. As you can see, we have 39% here instead of it was 70 before. Sell limits. If you have sell limits, then if, for example, a time when these shares are gone and it spikes up, your shares will be bought at a very high price. We'll definitely be covering this for the next couple of days, but typically what I do here is I have fun discussions with people about psychology, politics, society. Next episode will be about voting systems and how we can improve voting systems through a liquid democracy, which is more of a direct democracy rather than what we do right now, which is representative democracy. Lots of cool things that we talk about here. Definitely give a follow if you enjoy and you think this is informative.